please be true. In other words, I love you. Fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Pak Joko, please welcome.
Satu, dua, tiga.
Cek.
Cek. Cek. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, jaluk mau piye? Sudah, silahkan ngomong jaluk mau piye.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sudah, oke ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to parallel session at the International Conference on Sustainable Agribusiness, Community, Economic and Rural Agriculture, ECO Sacera. My name is Nurul Arifianti. I am lecturer in University of Trunojoyo, Madura. Allow me to lead and moderate the discussion today. And I would like to introduce my partner in this session. We have Anissa Indriana in the Zoom and Dr. Ratna Hidayati as the note taker and operator. Before we start, let's start this session by praying together. We can say Basmalah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And in this session, we will have 13 presenters. And before we start, I would like to make sure all presenters have collect the final presentation. And for the presenter in here, still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 presenter. Halo, Assalamualaikum, Dr. Mais is in here. Okay, Guntur, are you there? Okay, maybe we will wait. And Muhammad Alwi, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in here we have 13 presenters. Maybe we will wait like 3 minutes to wait other presenter to enter this link. Okay, this session will elaborate sub-theme of socio-economic of agriculture, agribusiness and entrepreneurship, or rural empowerment and development. Before we start, I would like to share some panel discussion rules to make sure our discussion today will run smoothly and meet your expectation as presenter as well as participant. And this session will be finished at 15 p.m. and I would like to encourage all of you to be very active in this discussion since I believe the presenter is looking forward for your input and comment to improve the final paper. And I would like to propose, since we have 120 minutes and the presentation will be parallel method and we will continue with question and answer afterward. So the presentation will be divided into 3 parts. The first session is according to the order of attendance, and one session is 3 presenter, and then 3 presenter, and then 4 presenter. And each presenter has 5 minutes to present, and each session has 15 minutes for question and answer. And for the first presenter is Mayang Hermining Tias. Are you there? Okay, I will share screen your. Okay, you can come in. You can come in and to the stage, and you will present. You can check your microphone.
Hello.
Okay, okay, Mayang, your time. This time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to this presentation. Let me introduce myself and my team. I am Mayang Hermining Tias, and my team consists of Slamet Widodo, Amanatu Zuria, Yohanin Zamroda, and Purbowo. I will explain to you about my presentation. The role and participation of women in social forestry, KSN Baru Rejo Village, Siliragun District, Banyuwangi Regency. Next. Introduce. The population in Indonesia is increasing in 2020. It was recorded at 270.20 million people, with the number of women reaching 133.54 million people. In 2021, the population increased to 217.58 million, with a female population of 135.24 million. The problem is the low education of women, which result in low female human research produce. This education cause access to decent work to be low. The number of poor people in 2023 will reach 25.90%. Percentage of urban poor 7.29%. Percentage of rural poor 12.22%. Next. The government effort in empowering community around forest around took social forestry. Social forestry is a form of forest management that involves local community to improve their welfare. social forestry are in Banyuwangi, Regency, 57,390 hectares, which has 50 social forestry groups, 39 old social forestry group, not all of which are included in social forestry groups, and one prospective new social forestry group. One of them is in Barurejo village, is a forestry area having groups, namely Barurejo Makmur Sejatera. The region has a good farming business totaling 23 heads. Fetch nets are obtained from forest, product and agriculture, first not only livestock business, but there are porang planted from the beginning of 3 years. Next. Next. Research objective. Number 1, know the role of women housewives in utilizing social forestry to improve household economy. Number 2, know the form of women's participation in social forestry areas. Next. Research methods. Location Barurejo Village, Siliragung District, Banyuwangi, Regency. Respondents, the number of respondents in the study was 25 people. Data source, the type of the data is used is primary data obtained through observation interview. Data analysis using Harvard Model Farm Work Analysis. This analysis is carried out by map the roles and various research of not by women and men. Number 1, production activity profile. Di sini, access to counseling training is only obtained by men with 80 gain, meanwhile women access to credit. Sorry, the table, the profile of production activity ranking from less procession to less activities more dominantly carried out by women. The implementation of social forestry program is able to make women's participation dominant in agricultural activity because this activity becomes an additional income in the household. This can be seen in the activity of land processing, planting, fertilization, harvesting, and sales carried out by both men and women. As for plant care activity, which and OPG carried out only by men. Reproductive activity profile. Reproductive activities in earning a living, especially outside the home, are predominantly carried out by men. Based on the result of interview in this activity, men predominantly work outside the home while most women do not work outside the home. There are side jobs carried out by the role of women housewives in the region, such as opening shops in the home area, the increase family income and working in stature. Access profile. Many women have not participation in counseling activity. Training for women. Overall access to forestry resource is still dominated by men. Women only get access to credit or loans for women. Next. Control or decision make. Decision make is dominant towards the role of women compared to men. First decision make in farming is more dominant to women with a percentage of 80. Second decision make in sales is more women than men with a percentage of 88. In the sense, that the role of women greatly contributes to the of farmers in forestry areas. Their decision make in business group deliberation activity is more dominant to the role of men heads of household by 76%. Next. Table benefit. Benefit is in farming, women have a more dominant result than men with a percentage of 19.6%. These benefits are in the form of income obtained from farming. Next. Factor affecting the profile of activity, access, and control. Obstacles. Number one, lack of opportunity for women to participate in social forestry. Opportunity. Number one, exam training to improve self-ability with the aim of increasing soft skill in the members of the group. So far in the Baru Rejo Makmur Sejahtera groups, the are good and porang farming business. Next. Forms of women's participation based on the participation from the are 5 types, namely participation of ideas, participation of energy, participation of property, participation of skills, and social participation. The form of its participation in the Baru Rejo village area at the time of the interview was village, namely, number one, brain-sealed participation in women's involvement. Participation of ideas in women's involvement includes joint decision making and opinion giving in farming. Number two, participation of women forestry works in the family economy. In the former work, just like there is one housewife who works as a teacher to increase family income. Number three, property participation in women's involvement. In that part of economic activity, it is more dominant to the role of men for monetary contribution if there is a member association. Number four, participation of skill and proficiency in forestry areas. Women's activities in that section do not include activities such as making head drafts of developing production. Number five, women social participation in forestry areas. At the time of the interview, the role of women was not in association activities such as PKK activities or mutual assistance. It's just that housewives join the association or if the head of the household cannot attend the association activities which are usually carried out on a month. Next. Consultation and recommendation. Bass and Harvard's analysts it know that the profile of women's activity in social forestry program compared to men is more dominant. However, plant care activities than to men, which should be part of women's activities wall, as well as the lack of women's involvement in extension activity. It is one of the consideration in the development of siting program in forestry areas. While the form of women's participation in social forestry is two kinds in it, namely the participation of idea and the participation of women energy. The suggestion gave was the need for training for women with the aim of improving an idea or skill that is usable for the process of developing new business in the Baru Rejo village area. Next. Thank you. I return it to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, I will. Okay, you can close. Okay, thank you. You can sit again. Okay, let's continue to the second presenter. We have Nanda Nur Firdausia. Okay, I will share screen. Okay, please note to the presenter, you have time for presentation is 5 minutes. Okay, okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nanda Nur Firdausia. In here, I will explain about my paper and title Livelihood Strategy of Social Forestry in Banyuwangi, Indonesia. Next. Forests are part of natural resources that essentially have multifunctional characteristics. Forests have provide a variety of basic necessities and are used as a source of income for most Indonesians. BPS 2022, this forest area has decreased by 0.5% during the 27 until 2041 period. Gaps or damage that occur in the community around the social forestry area in the village are important concern of survival. Next. The urgency of research. Forest management to remain sustainable of involving the community. Come up social forestry. One of the social forestry program in the East Java Regional Division in Banyuwangi with a land area of 183,396.34 hectare or 31.16% in the form of forest areas. Research object. 1. Knowing the pentagonal asset of communities around social forestry area. 2. Know the form of livelihood strategies applied by communities around social forestry areas. Next. Research method. Location. Alas Bulu and Barurejo Village, Banyuwangi. Respondent, 41 farmer. Data research, primary data obtained by interview and support by observation. Data analysis. Asset measurement technique are present in the form of pentagon diagram. Next.
Sorry, wait for 1 minute. Okay, next.
Next, Bu. Result and discussion. Pentagonal livelihood asset. This picture means that there is a difference in the average total score of each asset. Next. Pentagonal livelihood asset, Alas Bulu and Barurejo Village. Human, natural, financial asset in the both region fall into the low category. And social asset in both regions show moderate. Physical asset in Alas Bulu low category and physical asset in Barurejo Village medium category. Next. 1. Human asset. Human asset in the research are formal education, extension worker participation, and skill. The category of human asset in Alas Bulu and Barurejo Village include in the low category. Next. 2. Natural asset. Natural asset in the study are in the form of social forestry land ownership, private land ownership, and water availability. The category of natural asset in Alas Bulu and Barurejo Village include the low category. Next. 3. Financial asset. Financial asset in the study in the form of income, account, and financial difficult. The category of financial asset in Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village include in the low category. Next. 4. Social asset. Social asset enriched in the form of active social activities, trust, and teamwork. The category of social asset in Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village include the medium category. 5. Physical asset. Physical asset in the research are in the form of living condition, agricultural infrastructure, and transportation facilities. The physical asset category in Alas Bulu, low category, and Baru Rejo in the medium category. Next. Livelihood strategy. 1. On farm. The on-farm strategy of Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village is land use other than social forestry land, namely food planting and livestock maintenance. Next. 2. Off-farm. The off-farm strategy of Alas Bulu village and Baru Rejo village in the utilization of family labor and the utilization of government assistance. And the last, double income pattern. The dual livelihood strategy of Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village in the form of side job that remain in the area. Next. Conclusion and advice. Pentagonal living asset, human, natural, and financial of Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village are included in the low category. The social asset of Alas Bulu and Baru Rejo village into the medium interval category. And physical asset, Alas Bulu, the low interval category, and physical asset in Baru Rejo, medium interval category. Livelihood strategy. First, on-farm strategy in planting food and raising livestock. Second, the off-farm strategy of the utilization of family labor and the utilization of government assistance. Third, the dual income pattern strategy in the form of a side job. Suggestion, strengthen and provide livelihood asset, the role of government or stakeholder and can provide greater support to rural farmer in the social forestry areas. That's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's continue to the third presenter. Is Nurul Falaha. Are you there? Okay. Okay, Nurul Falaha, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to this presentation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nurul Falaha, and my team consists of Slamet Widodo, Amanatu Zuriyah, Yohanin Zamrodah, and Purbowo. I will explain to you about my presentation. Risk Analysis of Social Forestry, Business Management in Banyuwangi, Indonesia. Social forestry in Indonesia reach 5.6 million hectare by 2023. This figure is still below the target that should be, which is 12.7 million hectares. In Java, the area of social forestry reach 346.6 hectares. Social forestry in East Java reach 54.33% of social forestry area in Java. In East Java, there are 757 KUPS with 4 categories, namely platinum, gold, silver, and blue. One of the pilots of social forestry implementation in East Java is Banyuwangi. KUPS requires risk management to ensure the sustainability of the program. Therefore, risk analysis research at KUPS Maju Jaya Madu is important. The objective of this study are to analyze the source of risk and to analyze risk management strategies. Next. Location. The location of this study in Alas Bulu Village, Wongsorejo District, Banyuwangi Regency. Informant include chairman of KUPS Extension and chairman of KTH. Data search use are primary data from interview and direct observation. Stakes of analysis. Identify source of risk with fishbone diagrams and determination of risk management strategies. Result and discussion. Source of risk. There are 3 sources of risk analyzed, namely institutional risk, regional risk, and business risk. Next. First, institutional risk. There are 4 sources of risk, namely loss of cooperation with partners, uncontrolled administration management, difficulty of loan access, and decreased member motivation. Next, regional risk. In regional risk, there 4 source. Mohon maaf. I'm sorry. 3 source of risk, namely the difficulty of location access, land conflict, and damage to the area. Next, business risk. There are 6 source of risk, namely the quality of honey is still not good, erratic harvest time, lack of food source for bees, not yet market in e-commerce, business sustainability treatment, and limited access to information. Risk management strategy. First, institutional risk include building motivation with members in developing KUPS, administrative improvement, conduct written cooperation, and strive to fulfill partner requests, and make regular credit bill payments and seek information related to borrowing through other members who have made loans. 2, regional risk include conducting campaign and socialization both directly and through social media, location mapping of social forestry business utilization approach, and building adequate infrastructure. Last, business risk include learn marketing with village youth and extension workers, plant feed sources for klanceng bees such as jasmine, pine trees, and so on. Learn how to properly post-harvest honey processing, internet access at KTH Maju Jaya Secretariat, protecting the habitat and environment of social forestry, and increase the capacity of KUPS. Conclusion and recommendation. Conclusion, the source of risk in the KUPS Maju Jaya Madu are institutional risk, regional risk, and business risk. For recommendation, KUPS Maju Jaya Madu can overcome the risk that exist with the strategies that have been described. Thank you for your attention. I return it to the moderator. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Nurul Falaha. And we have already 3 presenters. And now I would like to start the question and answer session. Maybe in here, there are some question for 3 presenters. Or maybe in Zoom, you can raise your hand. Or in this venue, maybe have a question for 3 presenters.
Thank you for the presentation and also the time given to me. I would like to ask to the first presenter. Saba, yeah. You said I saw that there is 1% or 4%, 1% men, and then 90% women, right? Involved in the work, yeah, in your research. Mm. Yeah. So there are more women than men. But why you said that you still want to increase the participation of women? That's for you. And then for the last presenter about Madu Klanceng, I want to ask you the quality of the honey compared to other honey. The quality, is it superior to others, better than others, or the same to others, or lower than the others? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Umi. Okay, for presenter, you can answer. Okay. Are you willing to come collect the question, or you langsung jawab, atau mau menunggu dikumpulkan pertanyaannya?
Wait the minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Okay, we have one question from Alwi. We can go to Mr. Alwi to your question.
Okay, thank you for the time, moderator.
Okay.
I have a question. Is my voice clearly? Is anybody can hear my voice?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I would you ask the presenter too. The first, what is the social asset? And then the second question is what is the physical asset? And when you presentation about the social asset, you said about the trust. I'm curious how to calculate the trust and how to analyze it, because the trust we can say is the subjective. Different person, different point to see the trust. And for the physical asset, do you set about transportation? Do you divide about the public transportation or the private transportation? Because when you said in your presentation, you not said is the public transportation or private transportation. That is my question. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alwi.
Okay, thank you for the question from Professor Umi. I will answer. The quality of honey at KUPS Maju Jaya Madu is the same as other honey. Only its uniqueness is that is produced by KUPS members who are located around forest area. Thank you.
Okay, and for the second question,
Sorry, can I answer the question in Indonesian?
okay, it's okay.
Untuk dari hasil persen 4%-nya itu untuk laki-laki itu dari hasil pembagian laki-laki maupun perempuan, dan untuk hasilnya sendiri yaitu yang laki-laki itu 4% dan untuk perempuan itu yang 96%. Untuk jumlahnya sendiri respondennya itu ada 25 responden. Iya. Iya, dari menang. Untuk saran dari saya sendiri itu rekomendasinya untuk bisa melakukan pemberdayaan atau pelatihan dari desa baru rejonya tersebut sendiri tuh. Supaya ada terdapat kegiatan ataupun aktivitas dari peran perempuannya itu sendiri, Bu. Gitu. Oh, dibandingkan, Bu. Iya.
Thanks for question, and I will answer. For social asset, trust here means trust in the surrounding neighbor. Terus yang physical asset itu transportation is the ultimate in private transportation. Thank you.
Okay, for Mr. Awi, you have
Okay, thank you. And my question is have two main point. The first is the trust, how to calculate and how to indicator. Because you said is I don't know how to indicator the trust. For example, you in your PPT you said is the category low. How to calculate the trust is category high, medium or low. I don't know the indicator for it. Please explain me. And then the transportation also is the same. Because in my point is the trust is like a subjective. Every point have different point to see the trust. For example, I trust a person, but my friend is not trust a person. It's different. I mean, it's subjective. How to calculate it? That is the point. Thank you.
Okay, I will answer with Indonesian language. Untuk yang pertama itu kan dicari dulu untuk penentuan kategorinya itu kan ada skala Likert. Skala Likertnya di sini itu 1 sampai 4. Nah, setiap indikator dalam setiap aset itu dikelompokkan. Misalnya untuk yang aset sosial aset, mana? Sosial aset untuk yang pertama ini social activities, untuk sosial kehidupan sosialnya kayak ada semacam kumpulan-kumpulan, terus kemudian itu ada kepercayaan. Di sini maksudnya kepercayaan itu ada kepercayaan tetangga, kemudian ada teamwork itu kerjasama antar tetangga. Kemudian di sini itu dikategorikan misalnya untuk responden yang pertama misalnya ini setelah dikategorikan kepercayaan kepada tetangganya misalnya cuma 3. Terus respondennya kedua mengisinya 2, kemudian dijumplah, kemudian jumlahnya itu kemudian dirata-rata dari setiap indikator itu kemudian dijumlahkan, kemudian mendapat total rata-ratanya. Seperti itu. Terima kasih.
Okay, for the transportation, how to divide?
Privat.
Okay, how, Mr. Ali, you have statement?
No, it's okay. It's a nice answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great presentation from Mayang, Nanda Nur, and Nurul Falaha, and thank you for the question from Mr. Alwi and Prof. Umi. Okay, next, we have the fourth presentation. We have Ahmad Sariful Jamil and Burhan and Setiani. And for Ahmad Sariful Jamil, we have a video presentation. We can see the presentation video from Ahmad Sariful Jamil.
I'm Resti Prastika Destiani. I'm from Department of Agribusiness, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Trunajaya, Madura. At this opportunity, I would like to present our secondary research about Indonesia CPO competitiveness on encountering palm oil resolution policy of European Union. Since 2006, Indonesia has become the world's largest exporter of palm oil, with palm oil plantations spread across 25 provinces, with Riau as the largest palm oil producing province in Indonesia. As the largest palm oil producer, Indonesia produced 32.87 million tons of palm oil in 2019. CPO is a big contributor to Indonesia's total export value, which reached 17 billion US dollar, with one of the export destinations being the European Union. But through the time, there are negative issues related to Indonesia's CPO that prevent the development of CPO in European Union. Since the last 20 years, the issue of tropical rainforest deforestation of oil has begun to receive negative campaigns from European Union countries. Palm oil production produced by Indonesia is stated to play an active role in destroying the orangutan ecosystem and triggering an increase in global warming due to forest clearing. And in March 2017, the European Parliament finally issued a recommendation in the form of reports on palm oil and deforestation of rainforests and ban on palm oil biodiesel. Because they consider that the palm oil industry created many problems such as rainforest deforestation, corruption, child labor, and human rights violations. One form of policy that will prevent the value of Indonesia's CPO exports to the European Union is Renewable Energy Directive or RED policy. The regulation has determined palm oil as a high-risk and unsustainable renewable energy raw material through indirect land use change schemes. Well, the implementation of this policy will result not only in a decrease in export value, but also a decrease in competitiveness of Indonesia. As the second largest market, Indonesia will lose its potential market if it not responded appropriately. Moreover, the realization of this policy will also lead to oversupply. For Indonesia, this oversupply will put further pressure on palm oil prices. Of course, the price of palm oil can also reduce the competitiveness of Indonesia palm oil in European Union. So, the research goal is to analyzing the competitiveness of Indonesia CPO with the implementation of RED policy. This article conducted using secondary data from UN context from 2007 till 2017, with proxy from European market like Netherlands, Italy, and Spain. Malaysia as comparison in analyzing the actual position of competitiveness with Indonesia. This data was analyzed using RSCI, which analyzed the comparative advantage of Indonesia CPU in the European Union market, and Trade Specialization Index or TSI, which described the position of countries' tendency to become an exporter or importer for a type of product, and acceleration ratio, which provides an overview of whether a country can beat its competitor or the country's position is getting weaker in the export market and domestic market. The comparative competitiveness of Indonesian CPO from 2007 till 2017 has decreased. Although the RSCA index of Indonesia CPO is positive, which means that Indonesia CPO has competitiveness, but during the research period, Indonesia CPO experienced a decrease in competitiveness. The average RSCA index of Indonesia from 2007 till 2017 reached 0.998. From the figure, we also can see that Indonesia CPO has a higher relative comparative advantage over Malaysia. Next, from the table 1 about the TSI index, Indonesia has a 0.999 and Malaysia has 0.685. From the average TSI index on 2007 till 2017. The positive average TSI index indicates that both countries have competitive advantage or tend to be next exporter countries. Based on classification of growth rate, Malaysia CPO is on growth stage. Meanwhile, Indonesia is a maturity stage or has a very high advantage. And next, from the table 2, acceleration ratio calculation result for Indonesian CPO products is 1. This shows that acceleration of Indonesian CPO export growth is higher than acceleration of world CPO product export growth. The acceleration ratio index also illustrates that Indonesia CPO products have a comparative advantage over similar products from other countries in world. From the result, we can conclude that RSCA analyzes our competitiveness both Indonesia and Malaysia during the study period, but you can see that RSCA has a decreased trend. However, Indonesia still has strong competitive advantage and in the stage of maturity as net exported based on the Trade Specialization Index. In addition, Indonesia has opportunity to expand its export market based on acceleration ratio. So, the implication policy that we can suggest to the Indonesian government that Indonesia should conduct positive campaigns, strengthen bilateral cooperation, and then create alternative market other than European Union, like in South Asia or Africa. And also Indonesia has potential to open new export market and use the technology rely on commodity product and produce derived product, which is development of biodiesel. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, and let's continue to the second presenter. And the second presenter is Mr. Burhan. Okay, Mr. Burhan, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for timing given to us the chance to present our paper here entitled the the title, Creating a Spice and Traditional Medicine Agro-Industry Cluster in Madura. This paper are written by Burhan, Muhammad Rum, and also Ivan Rizky Kurniawan. Okay, next. These other research goals are mapping the agro-industry cluster of Maduris, spice, and traditional medicine plants. And the second is formulate the concept of developing an agro-industry cluster for Maduris, spices, and traditional medicine plants. And the methods and data analysis, we use K-means cluster by using SPSS version 2.3 for Windows. And next. Okay, we use some variables here. Two variables are performance and also production quality. And it's divided, performance or X variable is divided into 5 indicators from production capacity, length of time the business has been carried out until initial investment. And then the production quality, Y variables, is divided into 5 too, are taste, raw material until product packaging design. We will explain each of variables next. And this is the descriptive analysis from every performance, from length of time the business has carried out until average income in millions. We can find this or we can show in this slides. And we have a minimum and also maximum, and then we analyze this with statistics, SPSS. Next. Then after processing with statistics, we classified 3 clusters of small, medium enterprises here. I'm sorry, not translate in English here, has jarak minimum antar pusat cluster like that, and then until they have points value from negative and also positive, and next, I think. Okay, this is the result of statistics analysis about Madura spices and traditional medicine plants agro-industry cluster based on performance variables. You know that before we introduced that there are two variables. This is the variable based on performance. We use 3. We divide it into clusters or 3 clusters. Here, clusters 1 contains the Maduris spice and traditional medicinal plant agro-industry, which has a performance that below the average of the SMAS population study. And until cluster 3 contains the agro-industry of Maduris spices and traditional medical plants, which has production capacity, etc. And this study is on SMAS population. In Madura, in 4 regencies are Bangkalan, Sampang, and then Pamekasan, and also Sumeneb. Okay, next. Okay, Madura. Okay, this is Madura spices and traditional medicinal based on performance, I think it's still best performance, but the point is that we from performance variable we can divide it into three clusters. And next, I think here are the result of statistical analysis from production capacity is the best indicator, shows the differences between the Madurai spice and traditional medicine plants agro-industry in three clusters formed. And this is shown with F value and also sigma. Also, we can find from this, from the length of business carried out, we can see, for instance, that the value F value is 8.178, and then from capacity, production capacity, we can find that the value is 51.609. Okay, next. Next, okay. Okay, this is the second variable of cluster or industrial cluster. We see from this slides divided into 5 from taste, and then raw material and cleanliness, guarantee, and also packaging design. And for instance, from this result, we can see that cluster 1 contains the Madurai's agro-industry of spices and traditional medicinal plants, where product quality is above the average for the SMES population study. We, as a note, that that cluster 1 and cluster 2 and cluster 3 is divided from the quality. I think that the cluster 1 is the worst, and then the cluster 2 is maybe the second level, and then the cluster 3 is the best level. And then okay. Okay, next. I think we can jump from one cluster to another. I think example that based on performance, we can move from one cluster to another by doing something that involve some actors. Here we find here many actors. For instance, that government, and then product and product development, and then university, etc. And for instance, that if the enterprises need to make higher level in capital, we can use government as that make policy for loans, and also bank and financial institution that give soft loans, etc. And then for institution like university, we can do joint research for improving the quality, improving their packaging, etc. And then we also have, sorry, Koperasi is also is the other institution that can give some, for instance, advice for running the business, etc. So that in this picture we we approach as supply chain management uh, from upstream to downstream. And then next. Okay, this is the conclusions of the research. First is based on the performance, the agro-industry cluster of Maduris spices and traditional medicinal plants resulted in 3 clusters. And then the second, based on the product quality, the agro-industry cluster of Maduris spices and traditional medicinal plants produces also 3 clusters. And again, that 3 cluster shown that 3 clusters shows that or describe the quality of the SMEs or agro-industry entrepreneurs. And then konsep pengembangan agro-industry, I think the concept of agro-industry in developing agro-industry, we need some actors, we need some stakeholders to support the developing of SMEs in 4 regencies in Madura is Bangkalan and Sampang and until Sumeneb. I think that's all our presentation. Maybe we can next to discussion from this session. Okay, thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burhan, with the presentation. And now for the third presenter is Mrs. Setiani. Oh, the presenter is Alwi. Mrs. Alwi, Mr. Alwi.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I will share screen. Okay, Mr. Alwi, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muhammad Alwi, and my team is Devita Setiani. Today, I want to present about the paper. The title is Food Security Status of the Farmer Household in Kedungdung, Subdistrict Sampang District, and Madura Island. Okay, for the next. This is my outline. The first about the introduction, second research method, third research and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Next. Introduction. We know about the malnutrition problem in the world. According in FAO 2020, the rural area of the developing nation where are the poorest people are the concentrated. There are many problems about the food. And then the second is about the Indonesia is one of the developing countries that are facing problem on the food security and the malnutrition. We know about the COVID-19 in 2019. They have made a big problem about the food. So many people they lost the job, and so many people will get the hunger because they cannot buy food. And not only that, they have also the limitation to moving. And the third is about the agriculture development of the agriculture sector also effect on the Indonesian food security. According to the FAO index in 2020, about the food security index, Indonesia is lagging behind the several other Southeast Asian countries. The first, the number one, is the Singapore. Second is the Malaysia, and the third is Thailand, and Indonesia in the 54 number in 2019 according CIPER. And then last is the food security should be achieved not only in the national level but also in the household level. We can see most of the data I show is about is about the national data. But beside that, we should to break down how is the household level, because we can see Indonesia has a lot of poor people, and we don't know they have food for the consumption for tomorrow or not. That is the critical point. Okay, for next. So there is a problem. We have three research problems. The first is how the characteristic of farmer household. Second, how to FHFS status. And the last is how the FH consumption pattern. From that problem, we know we make a research objective. The first is to describe the characteristic of the farmer household. Second, to analyze the FHFS status, and the last to examine FH consumption patterns. Next, for the research method, the location we did in the Sampang Regency, Madura Island. We concern about the food insecure district in the East Java province. And if we break down more, the location in Kedundung sub-district and the Rahayu village. We use the household survey to get the data, use the questionnaire and deep interview. And how to calculate, we use the food recall to 24 hours. Next, for the research method, for the analysis, the first, we use the descriptive statistics to understand the characteristic of the farmer household. And the second, use the HDDH score to determine the HHF status. We can see from the PPT that is the formula or indicator for HDDS. They have two categories. The first is the food score, and the second, food insecure. And we divide by three categories: FS, middle, FS, F1, FI is according the CHAPCO 2018, and then the TFRX 2019. And the last is the descriptive analysis to examine its consumption patterns. Next. Okay, from this table 1, we can see about the characteristic of the respondent. The first, we can see the land holding. The minimum score is 0.04 and the maximum point is 0.5. And the age of the respondent, the youngest is around 27 years old, and then the maximum is 85 years old. And the farmer household size is how many members in the household. The minimum is has 2 people, and the maximum have 8 people. For the level education is below elementary score around 24.32%. Graduate from elementary school is around 67.8%. 7%, and the graduate from junior high school around 8.10%. And the income, the minimum is around 900,000 ADR or rupiah, and the highest is around 3.9 million rupiah. Next, we can see from the figure 1 the distribution of HDDS. Most the household is the score is 65 at 6 sorry 54.1% has the score equal to 8, following by 9 score is 29.7%, and the 7 score is the 10.8%. The average HSDI is the 8.19 on the scale of the 0 to 12 food group. Okay, next. For the food security status, we can see from the figure 2, the food insecure is higher than food secure. It means, according that research, so many people have a problem about the food insecure. And about the food security status, the middle have the highest score is the 54.1%, and the highest is the second is the 32.4%, is the low is the last is 13.5%. Next. We can see from the figure 3, the HDDI food group consumption by FH. The most of the household, they consume about the fruits and the tubes. We can see from the bar, the yellow part in the number second, the score is 64.89, and the highest, the consumption about the fish and the seafood food. What is the fruits and the tubers consumption? Most of the household, they consumption cassava and sweet potato. That is consumption they cook by deep frying, steam it, or the fried. They get that food from their home garden. And then for the figure 4, about the meat consumption, based on the income distribution, more than 3/4 of a household consumption, they not consumption about the meat. The score is we can see, the not consumption, the score is 37.8%. The consumption only 16.2%. For the next. So for the conclusion, the farmer household in the Kedundung mostly is the food insecure according to the score of DRT diversity. Second, government policy on the increase of household income is the important to increase the household consumption of the fruit, meat, and the milk. And the last, home garden utilization can be approved to increase the dietary diversity. Next, this is the reference. Next, and thank you for the time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ali. Okay, now we can start the Q&A session, and maybe in here there question for Mr. Alwi, and then the other presenter. Okay, Ms. Ratna.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. First, my questions is about the CPO. I think it's Miss Restia, Mbak Restia. So you have mentioned about the deforestation issue in which it threat our palm oil. However, in here you mentions about the RED II policy system in which it mentions about the renewable sources. I think those two works in different scheme in which even though we have a renewable sources based on this RED II, it means that we still cannot sell more to like Europe because the deforestation issue. I would like to know your response about it because it's related with your result. And second is the question to Mas Alwi. It's about food security. It's really interesting. You mentioned the recommendations is about fruit, meat, and milk. However, if you see the culture of Madur's people, me, myself, I mean, how does the culture of the food system, of the food, the way they, in terms of household level, of course, they have a different type of their consumptions. And in Madur's people have probably highly different culture compared to the West. In the West, of course, we know they drink milk, fruit, meat as a basic, consumptions. But how do you consider this culture issue in food security? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ratna. And for presenter, Resti Prastika is still out from, okay, she has another agenda, and next to the question for Mr. Alwi. Oh, okay. Miss Tiani will answer.
Okay. About the culture, yeah, right? Yeah. Because we only assess about the food security status, and from our finding, uh, they have a low consumption of milk and then meat, also fruit, right? Yeah. Because our food must be balanced. Yeah. Not only cereal, tuber, and that. So we can use the like in the low level and in Philips we have posyandu, right? Yes, we have posyandu. I think also although it's in Madura in Philips they have a posyandu, so we can approve using this institution like that because for food security, it must be balanced about the combination of food, the dietary diversity, like that. It's enough?
Okay.
Can I have a quick response on it? Oh, what I'm thinking is, sorry, because I'm lack of understanding in terms of what your research about, but what I'm wondering is whether the problem is about what we eat or whether the content of that we eat. For example, if it is about protein, we are surrounded by sea cucumber, for example. I mean that, is it, should we eat, because the recommendations directly mention fruit, meat, and milk. So I'm just wondering whether what we lack of is it about the commodity that we should eat, or is it because of the content that is it about the protein, is it because of the vitamin or something around that? Sorry, just to make a quick response. Thank you.
Because it's based on dietary diversity. Dietary diversity, it must balance about the component of food. So because the finding, the consumption of meat is still less, so we hope that our protein not only from egg, not only from like peanut or the other one, so we can increase the meat maybe from as I said in the conclusion, for recommendation home garden utilization, they also what's it? They keep the livestock like chicken, so it can improve their consumption of meat by utilization of their garden, like that. Enough?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think it's enough for just one question because we have limit time. Okay, great presentation from Resti Prastika and Mr. Burhan and Mr. Alwi, and question from Ms. Ratna Hidayati. And next, we have three presenters. The next is Wahyudi Priyanto and Mujiono and Guntur Krishna. Okay, for the first is Muhammad Wahyudi Priyanto. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Check.
Wahyudi, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much for the occasion. What times for me? 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. This time, I would like to present my my research is about the effect of climate change adaptation on rice productivity. I will introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Wahidi Priyanto, and co-authors is Dian Eswin Wijayanti, Sri Ratna Tiasari, and Ahmad Jayadi. Okay, for the research background, I do this research is because climate change is the most crucial challenge in the 21st century, where its impact include global resilience, namely agriculture, water resource, human health, and food security. And the threat of climate change to food security is caused by the decreasing food supply while the population continues to increase. And climate change now not only threatens the sustainable development of socio-economics and the agriculture activities in each country, but also the existence of humanity and the ecosystem as a whole. And the indicator of climate change is so much, something like temperature, rainfall, and wind speed, and other. According to the IPCC Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, agriculture production has declined by 1 until 5% per decade over the last 3 decades. Exposure to high temperature of 38 Celsius during the day and 30 Celsius at night during the rice grain filling stage is cause a decrease in the weight of the rice grains. And climate change involves the process and action of agents such as household to cope, manage, and adapt to changing climate conditions. Next. There are many research about adaptation to climate change, something like adaptation strategies adopted by farmers and determinants of climate change adaptation, but until now there are many or limited research about the influence and impact of climate change adaptation on agriculture output and livelihoods. So this research attempt to fill this research gap. Our research will provide insight into how adaptation affect to rice productivity. And effective planning and widespread implementation of climate change adaptation policies is critical to ensuring food security. Next. The method that are used is our research is focused on farmers because they have a closer relationship with the climate change, and we do the research in 2 locations. First is Yogyakarta province. Why? Because extreme climate phenomenon such as hurricane is often in that location, and 2 in Central Java province, in Sukoharjo Regency, because Central Java is contribute the highest rice production in Indonesia. And this research was conducted to 185 farmers who were selected using the simple random sampling. Next. And the analysis that we use is OLS, or ordinary least square. In Indonesia, maybe is known as multiple linear regression. And we use, there are 10, maybe 10 variables, independent variables in this research. There are dependent variables is productivity of rice. Next. And this the result of our research. There are 10 variables, dependent and independent. The dependent variables is rice productivity. The mean is 6,000 kilograms or 6 tons. And the adaptation, seed or bibit, urea fertilizer, NPK, lime or dolomite, farmers age, membership in farmers group, number of household member, and etc. Next. And this picture is shown about the proportion of farmers implementing climate change adaptation and the proportion of farmers based on total adaptation. In the right PowerPoint is show the, if one farmer is do a short life vacation, so he count by 1%. And I think the interpretation is 75.05 is implemented of short-lived varieties. And the right picture is show the, if the farmers do a short-lived varieties and crop rotation, so that farmers is due to adaptation. Next. And this is the percentage of farmers based on combination of climate change adaptation. Next. And this is the output of ordinary least square analysis. There are 4 independent variables that are significant to productivity of rice. Next. The first is adaptation, because the increased productivity is huge benefit of using adaptation. Next. The seed is critical component of increasing production, and increased seed use per hectare result in increasing production. Next. And fertilizer is positive significant, so the increase of fertilizer is increase the rice productivity. Next. And same with the dolomite fertilizer and the Yogyakarta variables is show that the rice productivity in Yogyakarta is higher than the Central Java. Next. The conclusion is our research investigate the effect of adaptation climate change to rice productivity. There are 4 variables that are significant to increase rice productivity, is adaptation, and then seed, and then NPK fertilizer, dolomite fertilizer, and the location of the land that our farmers do the farming. Thank you. Maybe that's my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wahyudi. And for the second presenter is Mujiono, and the presenter is Prof. Umi.
Thank you, moderator. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to talk now about corn. And could you help me with the presentation?
Wait a minute.
So yeah, okay, thank you. So why corn? First, because corn is resistant to drought, meaning that it only requires little amount of water to grow, right? And then when you talk about climate change and also when you talk about food security, you are looking for plants plants that resistant to drought need little input, little water, little fertilizer and everything else, right? And then this is, I would focus on the local variety of Madura corn. Why local? Because, you know, Madura is very dry, what you call it, dry condition. It means that who grows in Madura, they only need little amount of water. And this is very good characteristic to cope with climate change. That's why you have to pay attention to local plants that grow in the dry situation, right? Now, if you see here on the photo, in the graph, in the figure here, Madura corn, local corn is very small. So you may say that, oh, it's the local Madura corn has low productivity. It's very small, okay? Now, what I'm doing now is, I would like to see the characteristic, textural characteristic of Madura local corn. Why texture? Because when you eat corn, you don't actually care about the taste, right? It's bland, yeah, it's bland. So the first thing I would focus is on the texture, whether the Madura corn is hard or not, you know, whether it's sticky or not, you know, but you don't actually care about the taste because they are all the same, nearly the same. Okay. Another, next. Now, I took samples, 7 local varieties of Madura corn from 7 locations. First is Raas, which is the island, small island on the eastern of Madura. And then also, what else? Yeah, only Raas. And then other varieties was taken from main island of Madura. There is Ruberu and Batu Pote, and most of them taken from the eastern side of Madura. But only one taken from Bangkalan. You call it Tambin variety. Yeah. Yeah. Now this is all the name of the variety, the corn variety. Okay. Now this is the swelling power. What is swelling power? Swelling power means when you have corn starch, tepung corn, tepung jagung, corn starch. The one that has a good swelling power means that when you put water in there, it absorbs water. And then it's grow very, look like the volume is increasing, right? Now you can see here that the one in blue is the original corn, but the one with the orange color is jagung or corn who has been cooked in lime. Lime means batu kapur, air kapur. Yeah. So you can see here that probably the swelling power mostly increase after you cook in air kapur, in lime. But if you see Raas, pay attention to Raas, it has high swelling power. The original Raas still have very high swelling power. Yeah. And even in here, the gel hardness. Hardness means very strong, yeah? When you press it, you can feel it very hard. And you can see here the Raas and guluk-guluk. Yeah, it has, when it's cooked already with lime, it has very hard gel, meaning when you cook it, you can find that this corn is very hard, and you don't like it. Probably you don't like it, yeah? Yeah. Adhesiveness, meaning the stickiness. You take it and then you can feel the stickiness. And again, you can see the Raas and guluk-guluk, it has very sticky properties of the gel. So when you make new product from corn, Madura corn, you have to consider this. You don't want, sometimes you don't want your product to be very sticky, yeah? But sometimes you want it, yeah? Now, next, yeah, this is the springiness. Springiness is when you press it and then it will go back to the original height, yeah? You press it and then it is like that, springiness. And you can see here that the Raas, again, Raas, it has very high springiness. It means that when you eat it, when you chew it, it will go back to the original height, like kenyal. You call it kenyal. Yeah, it's very kenyal. So maybe the one you may have ever heard about what you call it, jagung ketan. Jagung ketan from Raas. It's very famous one. Yeah, that's very famous because it's like palai ketan. It's very sticky, but also it's very pulen. Yeah. So yeah, springiness you may say it pulen. Okay, the next one. Now cohesiveness meaning when you crush it, you try to crush it, it won't crumble. Ya, it won't crumble, utuh. Jadi tidak gampang ambiar gitu. Nah, most of them, I don't think there is any big difference there. Yeah, most of them they have a good cohesiveness. If you want to make chips, for example, from local corn Madura, you try to get corn which has low cohesiveness, because with crunchiness or renyah, you want to make it easily to broken down. Cohesive meaning it has very tight what you call it, tight connection. Yeah. So when you want to make chips, you want to have chips that is easily broken down. It doesn't have cohesiveness, something like that. So this information give us the data when you want to make chips or whatever product, you can choose which one. Yeah. Or you can say that, oh, this one is all of the Madura corn is not good for chips, something like that. Okay. Now, and this is resilience again. The very striking figure is Raas again. It's resilience meaning again kenyal or pulen. Now the protein. The highest protein is from batu putih, but I don't think the variation is very high. It's about 8 to 10%. The 10% is from the batu putih jagung, the corn from batu putih. So if you are looking for Madura corn which has a high protein, then you use batu putih. Yeah. Fat content. Fat content you can see here, we can see here the Raas and the one from Talango. Talango is also a small island from Madura. It has very high fat content. You don't have to be afraid of fat, because sometimes fat make your food become make you feel full easily. You eat something with fat in it, you can, even in only small amount, you can feel full, kenyang. Yeah, so sometimes you need fat, food with fat. Probably when you eat corn from Talango and Raas, probably it will make you feel full easily. Yeah, even if you only eat small amount of that. So if you are on diet, then probably it's good for you to have Raas and Talango corn. Okay. Yeah, next. This is the total energy. Total energy, unfortunately, is very high in Raas and Talango because it has a lot of fat. Yeah. But again, even if it has high energy, but if you only eat a little thing, a little small amount, but you feel full, then probably you will choose this one. Yeah. Now it's a bit tricky, right? I want to know the connection between all the characteristics with hardness of the corn. And I can see from the figure here that all the protein, springiness, everything, it has negative correlation with hardness. Yeah. This is from the original one. So if your corn is hard, yeah, it may indicate that the protein is very small, and then the energy is also small, thing like that. But when your corn is soft, probably it has high protein, and then it has high fat, and also probably it has springiness better, thing like that. This is from the original or corn, but when you cook it with in lime, or when you cook it in apa tadi, batu kapur, coba next, last one, it's completely different characteristic. Yeah. The connection or the correlation between hardness of the corn with other characteristic, with other stuff in the corn is completely different. So I would like to say that nixtamalization or the cooking in lime change all the characteristic of the corn. So I would like to say that from this data, we can choose which of the corn can be made into chips, or which corn can be made into noodle or pasta. My first impression is that raas and talango could be good to make noodle or pasta, but tambin probably it's good to make chips. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Umi. For the next presenter is Guntur Krishna. Are you here, Guntur? Okay, I will to share screen. Okay, hello, Guntur. You can hear my voice?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Guntur.
Hello, yes.
Okay, time is yours.
Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Introduce my name Guntur Krishna Pratama, and this occasion I will present my article, my paper with the title Visitor Safety Risk Analysis in Mangrove Tourism Development Effort Kedatim. Please next. Introduction. For number one, Sumeneb District. One of the four districts on Madura Island is Sumeneb. The distance between Surabaya and Sumeneb district is 168 km/h if traveled by car. Is number two, according to Arifin 2023, as tourism develops, there will be an increase in the number of visitors. The increasing volume of visitors can increase direct and indirect hazard. Number three is coastal tourism destination. Because every activity in the coastal tourism area has the opportunity to occur risk. And the number four is a problem about visitor safety. There is no visitor safety management in the place. Okay, next. The purpose to identify and determine the risk to visitor that can impact tourist area. Next. Literature review in the first Kedatim Mangrove Tourism Profile. Kedatim Mangrove Tourism is a tourist spot that offer education as well as natural attraction in the form of the beauty of mangrove forest located in East Kubundadap Village, Ronggi District, Sumeneb Regency. It has a jogging track with a length of 850 meters and surround the mangrove forest in Kedatim Mangrove Tourism. Number two is risk. Risk is the potential for unplanned natural event or circumstances to jeopardize property and financial gain due to undesirable circumstances. Since risk can certainly occur in all human activities, it is hoped that all activities can anticipate the risks that will occur. The next, coastal tourism. Geographically, a coastal area is a flat, sandy landmass on the shore or at the edge of the sea that partially cover the shoreline at the low tide and high tide. Risks of coastal tourism. Coastal tourism has risks that can threaten the ecosystem in addition to the natural beauty it offers. Drowning is one of the risks associated with beach tourism according to WHO. After traffic accident, drowning is the second leading cause of death. ARI, or Environmental Risk Assessment, is the process of identifying, analyzing, and evaluating risks and hazards that might harm the environment as a result of activities in the environment. Next. Research methods. Number one, research method, research location. Kedati mangrove tourism is located on Pelabuhan Street, Soro Hamlet, is Kebun Dadap Village, Saronggi District, Sumeneb Regency, Madura, East Java. The primary data is obtained through survey using questionnaires to respondent, namely expert on tourism, the government, business people, and so on. Number three method, the research method use the ARI, Environmental Risk Assessment Method. Next. Result and discussion. Number one is risk identification, working through the mangrove forest on the jogging track that has been provided is the main activity. Potential risks that can occur in working activities on the jogging track are slipping, colliding with trees, and fauna threats such as insects and so on. Number two is a risk assessment. Based on the result of the risk assessment, there is one medium risk with a probability value of 5%, namely reducing abrasion, and one small risk with a probability of 2%, namely lack of supervision of visitor. Risk control. Managers can take several steps to reduce risk, including developing safety and security SOP for incoming tourists, immediately installing guardrails. Next. For closing, from the assessment result, there is one medium risk with a probability value of 5% and one small risk with a probability value 2% in the Kedati mangrove tourism area. In risk control, before there are shortcomings that need to be improved. Researchers advise managers to immediately install jogging track guardrails, install warning signs throughout the area. Thank you for my presentation and the time.
Okay, thank you, Guntur. Okay, we already have three presenter, and now is for question and answer session. Maybe we have one question, maybe in the venue here or in the Zoom. Are there question for? Okay, one question.
I think I want to ask you, Prof. Umi. So when you show that this beautiful, yes, it's a revenge. No, sorry. No, I would like to ask about those. There are variety 1 and variety 2. And after that, you mentioned that, actually I wonder whether it is a combination between the TIP and also agroecological thing, agronomy, because you say based on different type that they grow, the jagung, the corn, and then it results in different texture and structure. What would you recommend the best? So it means that location will locations of the corn where you grow will depends on what type of quality of the corn that you can use for the industry. So which area will be the best for industrial purpose, and which area that's will be mapped? Is that the conclusion of what your research is about? So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope this answer your question. Yeah, the first thing is that there is the special characteristic of the corn. I'm not sure if you grow it in other place, it will give similar characteristic. I'm not quite sure. So let's say if they grow in their natural original environment, right? And then they will show this characteristic. So I'm trying to say to you that probably agronomy or technology in agronomy probably may not be able to change it too much, because it's about the intrinsic characteristic. It's about the DNA and thing like that.
Genetical things.
Genetic one, yeah. Yeah, that's basically like that. And then if we talk about the industry, it depends on what kind of industry is that. So we actually should be able to explore what kind of industry for this kind of for this particular kind of corn. Like I said to you, it seems to me that raas and guluk-guluk could be good for making noodle or pasta. But other like tambin, probably it's good for making chips. But again, you have to prove it. I'm not quite sure. And of course, actually, there is other thing that you can make it like if you want to make corn milk or something like that. Which one? You know, you may like to consider about the protein content of it, and then the low energy for it if you want to make a food for diet, thing like that. So yeah, it depends on what kind of industry. And actually, this is very challenging. Actually,
Yeah, I think that still go further exploration will be interesting in the future.
Yeah.
More exploration. Thank you.
Yeah, it's more exploration. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great presentation from Wahyudi and Prof. Umi and Guntur Krishna. And thank you for the question from Ms. Ratna Hidayati. And the next, we have two presenters, Helda Ibrahim and Ratna Hidayati. Okay, the first is from Helda Ibrahim. Helda Ibrahim. Helda Ibrahim, are you in the Zoom already? Okay, next for the second presenter is Dwi Ratna Hidayati.
Thank you very much. I think I'm the last presenter here, so it is very limited time, so no question. So my research is about assessing the reduce, reuse, and recycle, and it's about circular economy in the cashew value chain of Madura Island in Indonesia. Next, please. And this is, I write this paper together with my supervisor. We work on it for a long time, but we try to start with a very simple one, because we have another versions about circular economy as well. So I have outlined 4 sections of presentation, starting with introductions, research method, result and discussion, and the last is conclusions and recommendations. Next, please. So I cannot see it clearly. So Madura Island has a really good, good prospect with the cashew, in the cashew sector. We have these cashew nuts go for the export for over 70%. And meanwhile, 99% is under smallholders. It's really excellent. And in here, there is a demand about the sustainable practice everywhere, the balance of economic, social, and environment. However, there is a new lens that to measure this kind of sustainability that we call circular economy. How to do reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's the 3R, not Ratna. Okay, so about this circular economy, actually it is still questions. Can we do it? Because it's now being like urgent calling in the developed countries. But however, how, like Indonesia, we are developing countries do this, in which around 99.8% of these producers are smallholders. And especially from the FAO, it mentions that developing countries like Indonesia, it face food loss and food waste in the early stage. Next, please. So my aim of this research is to explore how the 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle in this cashew sector. Why I choose Madura Island? Because this received a cashew belt program in 2014, and there is an extensification around 2,660 hectares. And also the productivity is very high, it's around 0.76. I did a qualitative research for around 25 respondents from the value chain players and also the stakeholders in Madura. And we did a semi-structured, face-to-face interview, photograph, and also recording. And this is what we did. We start with value chain mapping. We did go through material flow from farm until the distribution. And then next we check what are they doing with these 3R activities. How do they do reduce, reuse, and recycle? And in the end, I will do the synthesis for the analysis. Next, please. So here what we got in the discussion. This is actually the circularity shape or form that we have in Madura Island, where actually, if we see the input and farm stage, what we can see is this farmer, they do self-rejuvenations, they use their own seeds, they believe in their own seeds, and in terms of weeding, they don't do machines. They prefer to do manual because of what? Because of the grass, they can use it for their animal. And after that, the animal, they have a cattle sewage, which they can use it again for the manure. So I think it's like kind of like mutual. This is what we call like simple circularism in the farm system. Again, about the pruning. If they would like to prune the trees, there are trash over there, but they just don't go as waste because they burn it and it becomes biopesticide. And this cycle, this is what we found in the farm stage, and in the next stage, it's still more surprising because what we found is this cashew nuts is actually what we can eat is the nuts, and the cashew apples, although we can eat it, sometimes they just throw it away for the animals because of what? They didn't harvest it in the ripen one. What they do is a mix, so no one wants to eat this unripened one, so they just give it to the animal. No matter what happens, the animal will just eat it. And then we have the wet in-shell nuts after the harvesting, and then they will go to the dry it. The drying system, they use sun drying system, which is very good because they use the natural system. And after that, if they would like to go with further processing, they need to unshell it, in which those cashew cells, actually this is a high value waste, in which they can go to the local factory as biofuel. If this processing go through the industry, they can become like cashew nut cell liquid. This becomes a renewable energy source. And after that, it moves into the shell nut and then ready to eat nuts, in which around 25% only go to the domestic market. Meanwhile, over 75% go to the export market. So this is a circular system that we found in Indonesia, which is cheap and really excellent. Next, please. So if I can put a synthesis on it, actually in terms of activity, reduce, reuse, and recycle, we all have did it. And this is the proof that developing countries can do the same what developed countries do, but it's just not have to be equal. We have our own way with limited activities, but we have a cultural, cultural application in which more effective actually. Next, please. So, to conclude, actually the circular economy lens through reduce, reuse, and recycle, this is very important in order to improve the sustainability. And what we found in Indonesia, or specifically in Madura Island, this is not only deeply influenced by the cultural practices, but it proved that it is very effective. And the third one, about the implications, of course, if we have this, if they read this, they can see the practitioner can better understand what stage of the waste recovery that they need to do in the cashew sector. And for the policymaker, they can better intervene. Okay, this stage that need this kind of interventions, or what kind of better policy that they can do. Lastly, for the future research, of course, identifying more barriers. I think there are more principles in the circular economy that we can further explore in the future. I think that's all from me, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dwi Ratna Hidayati. And I want to make sure Helda Ibrahim, I think it's not in Zoom, right? Okay,
Bu Novi, Bu Hilda masih punya problem dengan electricity? Ya, this is her turn now. Tidak ada?
no?
Oh, tidak ada.
Okay.
Iya, ini sudah terakhir
Iya.
sekali, Bapak. Mungkin masih lama.
Iya, okay. How about we will wait
Bu Novi, kita menunggu atau bagaimana?
or okay. Okay, we can start a question and answer.
The end. Keluar aja yuk. Ngambil ngopi-ngopi, saya takut.
Okay, I have several questions. First is I want to know how many post-harvest loss for cashew and what kind of loss is that? That probably, and yeah, it's similar to the question that what make the quality of, what damage the quality of the cashew nut? And then secondly, I want to ask you a question about the economic value of the waste, And other thing is that what actually is there any constraint for the cashew nut industry in the future? Thank you.
Terima kasih, thank you very much, Bumi. There are 3 questions yang saya tangkap. Probably 4 questions. First is about the post-harvest loss. So that was what the FAO mentions, that actually most of developing countries have food loss and waste in the early stage. For example, like if they do the harvesting, they didn't do properly, so many are falling down. Let me give you an example. For the cashew nuts, we need a good quality nuts if we harvest it in the ripened one. But most of the farmers, they do it in the mix. Kalau bergerombol, if they're in just some of those, and they just grab it without thinking about about this quality, as long as they can grab it all together. So there is one of loss that actually have not been counted. We cannot, actually it was a qualitative last time, so we didn't really count about the loss every single thing. We have the production, but we didn't really count about those each of single thing rep quality. So that's our homework. Exactly. About the price, what I can say about the loss is, the more you have poor quality, the low grade you get. Because in a single, if you will go to export, 1 kg needs to be around only 200 nuts. They count it. So if they unshell it, it should be around 300 grams. So that's for the export quality. If they cannot fulfill that, it means they're out of the quality. So that's the key standard. That's about the quality, right? And then the second one is about the economic value of the waste. We call it renewable energy. So nowadays people are talking, don't use like fuel from fossils. And now what we can provide here is, come on, we have this high value waste in terms of you can use it as renewable energy. If they sell it at the local factory, it's only 5,000 rupiah. That's poor price. But if they can go to the CNSL, I believe that it can more, because they can go as an industrial system. But we cannot. Yeah, and it can be used like furniture, not only for the. But this is so. It means that the waste never go as waste anymore, because it can recycle. It can use for another system. And then the last one is about the constraint. We have a lot, I would say that. But I would start with the economic functions constraint. Actually, we don't have problem with social and environmental, because they're really good. I will talk to you later personally. But for the economic function, actually, they do not want to sell good quality for the farmers. They don't care. They want a good seeds quality, but they don't want to sell in a bad quality. Saya pikir saya sudah dimarahi panitia, Ibu ya. We talk about it later. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much. I believe we had a great discussion today. And applause to all presenter here. Okay, we will end this session with hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.